Aaron's boots crunched on pale sand as he climbed the gentle slope of the dry riverbed. The sky was painted in shades of orange and violet, the twin suns dipping low on the horizon. He paused when he saw twisted metal jutting from the rocky, grounder scoutship, scarred and half-buried. His heart pounded. Official orders said to leave alien wreckage alone until the quarantine team arrived. But the faint glow from inside drew him closer. Inside the broken hole, Aaron knelt in the dim light. His med scanner crackled softly as he swept it over a figure lying against a fractured bulkhead. The alien woman's skin shimmered like moonlight on water. Thin veins of bioluminescence pulsed along her arms, faint and irregular. She tried to lift her head, but pain made her gasp. Aaron's breath caught. He had trained for emergencies, but never for this. Without thinking, he lifted her gently, careful of the jagged metal around them. The pain in her eyes was raw and honest. She looked at him with wide, dark pupils that reflected both fear and wonder. Aaron pressed a healing gel patch to her side, feeling the warmth of her skin beneath the cool, sticky paste. Her breathing eased. He realized she was terrified and alone. His heart ached. Whispered, "It's okay, you're safe now." She stared at him as though she heard his words in her mind rather than her ears. A single tear of glowing blue rolled down her cheek. Aaron gathered what supplies he could from the wreckage: a folded thermal blanket, a med kit with bandages, and a small ration pack. With care, he wrapped her in the blanket, the glow from her skin flickering faintly through the fabric. Lifted her in his arms and climbed back to the surface, the horizon shifting into deeper blues. The air was crisp and still. He carried her to his hidden clinic, a modest shelter carved into red rock, its entrance shielded by a tangle of desert shrubs. Inside the clinic, Aaron laid her on a low cot. He worked slowly, removing broken pieces of shell plating that she wore like armor. Each fragment he lifted away revealed more of the delicate structure beneath the iridescent limbs that sometimes flexed against his gentle touch. Though she winced, she did not pull away. Trust, fragile at first, began to take root between them. Aaron cleaned her wounds with warm fluid and guided her to drink small sips of rehydration solution. Her alien taste buds must have found it strange, but she drank anyway, her body too weak to refuse. He watched the rise and fall of her chest, the steady pulse at her throat. In that quiet moment, he felt a deep connection with this being from another world. He wondered what memories she carried, what fears haunted her dreams. As night fully settled, Aaron dimmed the clinic lights. The only illumination came from Sila's faint glow. He sat beside her and sketched simple shapes on a holopad: circles for suns, triangles for mountains, lines for rivers. He pointed to each shape and said softly, "Earth, desert, river." She watched, her eyes flickering like stars, and then she pressed a slender finger to the pad. A symbol appeared, like 3 interlocking circles. Aaron recognized the desire to communicate. His heart swelled with hope. Outside, the desert wind sighed. Inside, 2 strangers shared a fragile peace. Aaron leaned forward, careful not to disturb her rest, and whispered, "You are not alone, Ashi." Sila's glow brightened, as if she understood. In that silent clinic under alien stars, compassion bloomed across the void between worlds. And in that small moment, humanity shone brighter than any sun. Aaron entered the little clinic before dawn, the first light of twin suns slipping over the horizon. Illa lay on the cot, her breathing steady but cautious. He knelt beside her and offered a small cup of warm water. She stared at it, as if it might burn her. He smiled gently and said, "Drink." Her thin lips touched the rim and she sipped, eyes closed against the unfamiliar taste. Aaron's heart lifted. This brave creature trusted him enough to try something new. Over the next hours, Aaron cleaned her bandages and arranged fresh blankets. Each time he spoke, he did so slowly and softly. Sila watched him with wide, curious eyes. She reached out a hand, trembling, and brushed his sleeve. He held still, letting her skin glow against his cloth. In that moment, he felt her heartbeat under his palm, an echo of his own. He realized that even across worlds, kindness could be understood without words. Aaron drew more symbols on the holopad. A heart for care, a hand for help. He pressed each symbol and said its meaning aloud. Scylla watched, head tilted. Then she drew a small star beside Aaron's hand. He pointed to himself and said, Aaron. Scylla pointed to herself and whispered a soft musical sound. Aaron repeated it gently. Scylla. Her skin pulsed a little brighter. A simple name became their bridge, and Aaron felt tears sting his eyes at the wonder of it. When hunger crept in, Aaron offered a portion of his rations, placed small, pale cubes of protein paste in her hand. Scylla sniffed, then bit carefully. Her eyes widened, and she let out a soft hum. Aaron tasted a cube himself. It was bland, yet filling. They ate side by side in silence, sharing the first true meal of their journey. The simple act of feeding each other bound them together more deeply than any speech could. As midday heat rose, Aaron led Scylla outside to a small courtyard. He pointed to the sky, then to the pale desert floor. He invited her to walk. Shaky at first, she rose and followed him. Each step was careful, but she did not fall. Aaron reached out to steady her, and she let him guide her through the open air. Around them, wind whispered through scrub brush. Glow pulsed in time with her breathing, and Aaron felt hope blossom in his chest. Later, Aaron activated a small holoprojector and played a soft lullaby from his homeworld. Gentle notes floated in the air. Scylla closed her eyes, letting the music wash over her. Aaron watched as her shoulders relaxed, and her bulging fear retreated. He realized she had known only war and flight until now. Here, in this quiet place, she first tasted peace. When the song ended, Aaron reached out again, placing a hand on her shoulder. Scylla opened her eyes and placed her hand over his. No words passed between them, yet everything was said. Trust, fragile but true, glowed between their joined palms. Aaron knew that whatever lay ahead, this bond would guide them. In the warm light of a new day, two strangers from distant worlds took their first steps toward friendship, and nothing would ever feel so hopeful. Aaron sat beside Scylla in the warm glow of the clinic's holoprojector. He tapped the pad, and a sandy desert scene from Earth blossomed in midair, rolling dunes under a pale sun. Scylla's bioluminescent veins pulsed softly as she reached out to touch the image, her fingers brushing the air where the shifting sands appeared. Aaron pointed to a distant mountain in the scene and said, Hill, then traced a line in the sand beside it, showing the way water would flow. Scylla watched closely, her dark eyes reflecting both wonder and a spark of recognition. Next, Aaron selected a holoclip of a tall, green forest on Earth. Towering trees stretched toward a blue sky, and sunlight filtered through leaves. Scylla gasped a faint musical sound that trembled with longing. Aaron pointed to a tree trunk and said, Tree? Then he pointed to the leaves and said, Leaf. She repeated the words softly, her voice a gentle echo. He beamed with pride. This simple exchange was more than language. It was a bridge between two hearts. When Scylla tapped the pad, a new symbol appeared beside Aaron's words. A spiral of light encircled by delicate filaments. Aaron studied it and realized she was describing her own home, vast fields of glowing plants that pulsed like living stars. He pressed record on a small sphere and projected the symbol in light. Then he drew a crude version of the symbol next to a circle he had drawn for the sun. Scylla's eyelids fluttered. She nodded and whispered the symbol's name, Lumira. Aaron repeated it with care, feeling the gentle weight of her culture in his throat. A tear of pure light slipped down her cheek. To share more, Aaron recorded a soft breeze sound and played it back. He stepped outside with Scylla following slowly, her steps guided by his calm hand. The dry wind of Nereus 7 brushed their cheeks. He held the sphere aloft, and the breeze in the courtyard seemed to echo the earth breeze. Scylla closed her eyes and leaned into the wind, her glowing skin brightening. Aaron watched her smile, a flicker of peace shining across her alien face. He realized that memories were not bound by distance or species. Back inside, Aaron brought out a small canvas and colored pigments salvaged from Earth's supplies. He dipped a brush and painted a simple scene. Red rock cliffs under two setting suns. With a tiny figure, him standing beside a glowing silhouette Scylla, she leaned forward and traced the lines with her slender finger. Hand gently against the painting, and for a moment Aaron felt her warmth transfer through the brushstrokes. In that instant, words were unnecessary. Scylla then produced a small shell-like object from her satchel, its surface etched with flowing designs. She placed it in Aaron's palm. He turned it over and saw patterns that reminded him of concentric waves. Scylla tapped the shell softly and closed her eyes. A gentle hum filled the room. Aaron listened as the sound carried both sorrow and hope. He realized she was sharing a song of her people, a lullaby sung beneath glowing forests. He pressed the holosphere against his ear and let the melody wash over him. When the song ended, Aaron reached out and placed his hand over Scylla's on the shell. Their fingers intertwined, bone and light. No words were needed. They had woven their stories together. Aaron spoke one simple phrase: "You are home here." Scylla's glow radiated warmth. In that quiet room, two souls from distant worlds shared their pasts, their hopes, and their hearts. And as the soft hum of the alien lullaby faded, their bond shone brighter than any star. Aaron woke before the suns rose, restless under the weight of worry. Overnight rumors of an alien survivor on Nereus 7 had spread like wildfire. By first light, patrol ships skimmed the horizon, their searchlights slicing through the desert. Aaron watched from his clinic's small window as armed officers disembarked and fanned out in squads. His heart pounded. Scylla stirred on her cot, her glow flickering in the dim room. He knelt beside her and whispered, "They are coming." She pressed a hand to his, her warmth steadying his fear. He moved with quiet urgency, packing a small satchel with necessary supplies, water, rations, med gel, and the forged transport papers he had prepared the night before. Each signature he had copied local governor. Quarantine command felt like a lie that could cost him everything. He had sacrificed safety to protect her, but now the moment of truth had arrived. He paused over Scylla's cot, brushing a strand of glowing hair from her face. Her dark eyes searched his, filled with trust he did not feel he deserved. A sudden knock rattled the clinic's door. Aaron's breath caught. He slipped the satchel over his shoulder and helped Scylla to her feet. Her limbs trembled, but her gaze remained calm. He drew a deep breath and opened the door to find two officers in standard gray uniforms. The taller one stepped forward and said, "Dr. Kellen, we have reports of an alien inside. You're required to present her for examination." His voice was firm but not hostile. Aaron summoned a polite smile and stepped aside. "Please, come in." While the officers entered, Scylla stood behind Aaron, her glowing form hidden in his shadow. Aaron led the officers past a simple curtained area, where he pointed to empty cots. "There was a medical emergency here last night," he began. "I treated a severe respiratory case, but she was human. The patient insisted on privacy for personal reasons." The officers exchanged skeptical glances. The shorter one frowned. "Did you report this to the quarantine command?" Aaron shook his head. "I was under the impression minor human cases don't require reporting until stabilized." Fear tightened his chest, but he held their gaze firmly, behind the officer's attention on his explanation. Scylla slipped back to the curtained area. Aaron hoped they would not notice the faint glow. As the taller officer unfolded a data pad, Aaron felt time slow. He held his breath as the officer tapped the pad and requested patient records. Aaron handed over a small digital file containing falsified logs. His fingers shook. The officers read quietly. Then the shorter one looked up. "These records look in order. We'll need a follow-up next week." Relief flooded Aaron's chest. He bowed his head slightly. "Of course, I'll be ready." Once the door closed behind them, Aaron let out a long breath, his knees weak. Scylla emerged from behind the curtain, her glow steady and bright. He caught her in a gentle embrace, overwhelmed by her trust. She laid her head against his shoulder, and he felt her soft hum like the slow pulse of a quiet star. Aaron stroked her hair, feeling tears prick his eyes. "They almost found you," he whispered, lifted her head and tapped his chest twice, a symbol he had learned meant gratitude. In that wordless moment, he knew his sacrifice was not in vain. That night, they prepared to leave. Aaron loaded Sela into a small hover wagon, covering her with a heavy tarp. He climbed in beside her, clutching her hand as the vehicle rose above the clinic roof.
Ow.
Below, emissary lights traced the patrol routes. Aaron piloted the wagon toward the edge of the desert, where an old smuggler's tunnel promised safe passage. To another system, Sila's light glowed softly beneath the tarp, beacon of hope guiding him through shadows. As the desert winds whispered around them, Aaron felt both fear and exhilaration. He glanced at Sila, whose eyes reflected the stars above. Though dangers stalked their path, their bond burned brighter than any threat. With one final glance at the world they left behind, Aaron engaged the controls. The hover wagon surged forward, into the dunes, carrying two unlikely friends, toward a sanctuary where kindness, not fear, would shape their future. Aaron guided the hover wagon down a narrow canyon path as dawn light painted the red rocks with gold. Sila rested against a rolled blanket, her glow faint but steady. Each mile brought them farther from danger and closer to hope. Aaron kept one hand on the controls and the other gently perched on Sila's knee. He wanted her to know she was not alone on this long road. They traveled past fields of rust-colored grass that swayed in the gentle breeze. At one spot, a shallow stream carved its way through smooth stones. Aaron stopped the wagon and helped Sila down. Her boots dug into the cool water as she dipped her fingers and let the stream flow over them. He knelt beside her and touched the water too. "Water fresh," he said softly. Sila looked up and managed a small smile, her skin glowing brighter. With relief, for the first time she drank deeply without fear. Back on the wagon, Aaron hummed a simple human melody. He had learned it as a child to calm his own fears. Sila listened, her head tilted to one side. He offered the holosphere and let her record her own song. The room filled with her soft lullaby notes that rose and fell like gentle waves. Aaron closed his eyes and let the music fill him with warmth. When it ended, he reached for Sila's. Hand together, they hummed the two songs in turn, weaving human and alien notes into a shared tune. They pressed onward through scrub brush and rocky outcrops. At midday, heat pressed down on them, and the hover wagon's shields hummed with effort to keep the cabin cool. Aaron offered Sila a cold pack from his supplies. She held it to her forehead and sighed in comfort. He realized she was still recovering, her body adjusting to new climates. He checked the med scanner and applied gentle pulses of healing energy. Sila's veins pulsed brighter, and she whispered thanks in her soft, musical voice. That afternoon they encountered a field of crystalline growth tall, thin shards that chimed in the wind. "Us!" Sila gasped and reached out. Each crystal rang like a tiny bell. She traced patterns with her fingers, and the air filled with delicate music. Aaron watched her face light up with wonder. He sketched the crystals on his holopad and said, "Music." Sila nodded, then tapped the pad and drew a new symbol beside the crystals. Aaron smiled. She was teaching him again. Their roles had shifted, and he felt grateful for her guidance. As evening approached, Aaron spotted smoke rising in the distance. He tensed, fearing hostile settlers. But as they drew closer, warm light glowed from a cluster of tents in a sheltered valley. Figures moved inside, nothing about weapons or aggression. Aaron slowed the wagon and called out in a calm voice. A small group emerged, kindly faces of mixed species, refugees seeking peace. One woman stepped forward and beckoned them in. Aaron exchanged a hopeful glance with Sila. Inside the camp, laughter drifted through lamps strung between poles. Glow pulsed stronger at the friendly sounds. Aaron introduced her carefully, sharing her name and story. The refugees listened with open hearts, offering fresh water and simple food. Sila tasted a piece of flatbread and closed her eyes in delight. Aaron felt tears rise at her joy. He had never seen her smile so fully. That night around a communal fire, Aaron and Sela taught the camp their shared song. Aaron hummed the human melody, Sila answered with her lullaby. Others joined, their voices blending in the cool night air. Flames danced, casting gentle shadows on eager faces. Sila's skin glowed brighter with each note, and Aaron's chest swelled with pride. Had found a place where healing could continue. After the song, Sela slipped her hand into Aaron's. He squeezed gently. No words were needed. Together they had journeyed through danger, fear, and uncertainty, and now they stood among friends. Under the twin moons of Nereus 7, they rested. By the fire, hearts light with new beginnings. Their bond, forged in kindness and courage, would guide them onward toward the true sanctuary they both dreamed of. Aaron walked beside Sela through the camp at dawn, the soft light revealing rows of tents and small gardens. Refugees of many species tended to seedlings in loose soil. Sela paused at a cluster of glowing flowers' delicate blooms that pulsed gently like her own skin. She knelt and cupped a flower in her hand, its petals opening with quiet warmth. Aaron watched her, his heart full. He knew these moments would heal her spirit. A friendly refugee named Mara greeted them with a basket of warm porridge. Aaron and Sila sat at a low table beneath a fabric canopy. Sila hesitated at first, unsure how to eat this new food, but Aaron encouraged her with a soft smile. He broke the bread into small pieces and offered her a bite. She tasted it carefully, then smiled and nodded. Her glow brightened, and Aaron felt a rush of hope. Later, Mara led Sila to a small healing tent, where herbal remedies were stored. Sila touched each jar and inhaled the scents, sweet, earthy, foreign. Aaron translated the names for her: lavender for calm, mint for cooling, chamomile for rest. Sila closed her eyes as the fragrances mixed around her, and her shoulders relaxed for the first time since she'd arrived. Aaron squeezed her hand gently. She opened her eyes and whispered a word that sounded like peace. That afternoon, the camp held a gathering in a shaded clearing. Refugees shared stories of home. Some spoke of floating cities, others of deep oceans. Aaron invited Sela to tell her own story. She stood, trembling, and touched her chest where her heart beat. Then she placed her hand on Aaron's shoulder, and he knew what she meant. She trusted him to speak for her. Aaron told of her flight from danger and her journey to find kindness. The crowd listened in respectful silence, their faces soft with empathy. When he finished, they offered quiet applause and gentle smiles. As evening neared, Aaron and Sila helped set up lanterns around the clearing. Each lantern held a small glowing crystal, mirroring the light in Sila's veins. Camp members crossed their arms in friendship and placed crystals on a low stone altar. A hush fell as the first lantern was lit. Its glow danced on Sila's face. She reached out and touched the flame. No heat burned her hand. The lanterns. Light brightened. Iron. Aaron knelt beside her and whispered, "You belong." Sila pressed her hand against her heart and smiled. That night, Aaron and Sela lay side by side on a soft mat in the open air. Stars sparkled above, reminding them of the twin suns' distant glow. Aaron shared memories of his childhood running through fields under an open sky, laughing with friends. Sela listened, her eyes reflecting starlight. Then she shared a memory too, playing among glowing plants with her sister, their laughter echoing like chimes. Aaron held her hand tightly as she spoke, feeling both joy and sorrow in her words. In the quiet that followed, Aaron turned toward Sela and said, "Tomorrow, we will help in the gardens." She nodded, her glow soft and steady. He knew she still carried pain from her past, but here she could grow again, just like the plants. Around them, he felt pride that he had guided her to this place of healing. As they drifted to sleep, the camp's gentle night sounds lulled them. Distant laughter, soft footsteps, the low hum of crystals. Aaron reached over and brushed a stray lock of glowing hair from Sila's face. She opened her eyes and looked at him with gratitude that needed no words. In that silent bond, they found hope stronger than any fear they had known. And under the watching stars, two souls from different worlds dreamed of a future built on kindness and shared light. Aaron woke early to the soft glow of lanterns around the garden. Scylla was already there, kneeling beside a row of young seedlings. She gently touched each leaf, her bioluminescent veins pulsing in time with the plant's slow heartbeat. Aaron joined her, offering fresh water in a carved wooden bowl. Together they poured it over the roots, watching the soil darken and drink. In this simple act, they shared hope-proof that life could grow again in even the driest places. Throughout the morning, Scylla moved among the refugees, teaching them how to use gentle pulse healing on weak shoots. Her soft humming filled the air as the plant straightened and leaves brightened. Aaron stood nearby, translating her words into the common tongue. He watched her eyes shine with pride when the refugees thanked her. In that moment, he knew she had found not only healing for her heart, but also purpose in helping others heal. After the garden work, Aaron led a small class under a fabric canopy. He drew maps of nearby star systems and pointed out trade routes and safe passages. Scylla sat at his side, tracing the lines with a slender finger. When Aaron described his home world, she closed her eyes and imagined twin suns on the horizon. Then she drew a new path on the map, a hidden route she knew from her scouts training. Together they planned how to guide fleeing refugees to safety. As afternoon light warmed the camp, Aaron and Scylla walked hand in hand to the water tower. They spoke little, content to share the peace of the moment. Birds native to Nereus 7 fluttered around them, curious about the glowing woman and her human companion. Scylla reached out and touched a bird's feathered wing, marveling at its softness. Aaron smiled at her wonder. He had once believed he would never see such innocence in war's shadow. Now it flourished all around him. When evening fell, the camp gathered in the central clearing for a ceremony. Refugees laid woven mats in concentric circles, and Aaron and Scylla sat at the center on a simple wooden bench. One by one, each community member stepped forward to offer a small gift, a bead of crystal, carved wooden figure, a folded ribbon. Scylla accepted each offering with a gentle nod, her glow brightening with gratitude. Aaron felt tears in his eyes. As the last gift, a single glowing flower was placed in her lap. After the ceremony, a hush settled over the clearing. Aaron rose and spoke in a clear voice. "We have built more than a shelter here. We have built a home. But there are many who still wander, lost and afraid." He paused, looking at Scylla. She stood beside him and placed her hand on his shoulder. The crowd leaned forward. "We will help them find their way," Aaron continued, "together." A wave of applause rose, echoing beneath the star-spangled sky. Later, Aaron and Scylla packed their few belongings for the journey ahead. Scylla folded her glowing shell satchel and tucked it into Aaron's satchel. He packed the holosphere and extra rations. Their hands brushed as they worked, and Scylla smiled a radiant curve of bioluminescent light. She whispered her thanks in her melodic language, and Aaron replied with his simple words, "With you, I am home." Their bond needed no translation. At dawn, they climbed into the hover wagon once more. The refugees gathered to see them off, standing silent as Scylla and Aaron waved goodbye. The wagon rose above the camp, its engines humming softly. The houses and gardens shrank until they were nothing but dots of light. Scylla pressed her hand against the cabin wall, feeling the wind rush past. Aaron set the course for the distant starport. Together they looked ahead, hearts full of courage, ready to carry their unexpected humanity into the wider galaxy.